It's the Down Beach Buzz Podcast for October 23, 2025 with Sherry Lilienfeld of eXp Realty. Buy, sell, lease, commercial, residential. Go to realtysherry.com. She's all about eXp Realty. And Paul Scollage, he's from rate.com. Mortgages, refis, talk money with Paul, even fishing and brigantine. He'll pick up the call. He'll pick up the phone for that as well. Go to Paul Scollage's website. Go to rate.com. And speaking of Paul, hey, Paul, what would you rather have, a lower price home or maybe getting rates back into the fives? What do you think is going to help move some houses here along the shore?
Maybe a big bluefin we could catch on the boat. That would be good, right? That's a way to start it off. We would love to see rates consistently in the fives. I mean, we've had some decent opportunity over the last 60 days where rates kind of dipped into the upper 5%, and it's wild. I mean, everything's done short term where you think that we're making a move in the right direction. Things look great. You have a 3 to 4 day window, and the next thing you know, things creep back up. And right now, with the government being shut down, the data that drives interest rates isn't available. So that's also having an impact on what we see right now today. But, the Fed is lined up. We just had one quarter cut about a month ago. They are projected to speak in the next Fed meeting for October to see another 0.25% rate cut. I think, we are trending in the right direction. And I think we definitely need to see rates in the fives to see some more inventory. I think we all know right now our challenge is the lack of inventory, which is driving the demand up. But we consistently have to see rates in the 5%. The refi market has been great. Anyone that's bought over the last 2 years, some people have seen rates that are in the 8% that they're sitting on right now. So refinances are an absolute opportunity right now with where we are today. But projection wise too, I think, rates are only going to continue to get better.
And if I could ask Paul, the refi thing, when somebody wants to refinance their home, tap into the equity, does that mean that they get a whole new interest rate, or are they able to retain that same interest rate?
You said two things. When you're refining for a purpose. So one would be what's called a straight rate and term refi. So basically, you're just going to refi the balance that you currently have into a lower rate. And historically, I wanted someone to be able to save 0.75 of a point to a point, depending upon the loan amount, size, and depending upon how long they've been in the term or how long they've been in the actual loan. Then there's what's called a cash out refinance, which we did a lot of these during COVID when we saw historic rates in the 3%, 3.5%, 4% range where people tapped into the equity. And that's what we call a cash out refinance. So yeah, you have to refi for a purpose, whether it's getting a lower rate or taking cash out, several other reasons, whether if you're going through a divorce in some sort, that's another opportunity where people need to take one party off of the actual note. But refinances right now are going to continue to get better as we move into the fall, along with the spring market.
What about the unemployment issue, the furloughs, the layoffs, the government shutdown? Do the job losses, how much does that affect the real estate market?
Great question. So I'm actually doing a couple loans right now for government employees. There's some departments of the government that are completely shut down and the employees are not working, right? There's also another part of the government where they are working just like normal, they're just not getting paid, right? So what's going to happen, they're going to get, I guess you call it back pay. They're going to get paid for the time that they worked. So in our world right now, they're just a regular employee, just not getting compensated. So it does make it complicated from a qualifying standpoint, but getting a strong letter of explanation from someone at HR explaining the situation, the employee is working at the time, not getting paid. However, the likelihood of them staying at the job once they start getting paid is high. So you just got to ask questions when you're dealing with that unfortunate situation, people not getting paid right now.
We are talking to Paul Scolledge of rate.com. Reach out to him. Find him at rate.com. And Sherry Lilienfeld of EXP. One more question for Paul. What are the most common missteps or errors or challenges that people coming to you are experiencing right now? What are some of the common mistakes that people that when they reach out to you, you go, in this environment, better watch your P's and Q's? What would that be, Paul?
Yeah, it's funny. I have a pamphlet that I hand out. It's called The Do's and the Don'ts of the Mortgage World. So, when you're in the process or looking for houses, when you're looking to purchase a property, a couple of things, you don't want to go out and make any extravagant purchases, right? Don't go out and buy a car, don't buy this, don't buy that. I had an experience where I had a young lady that was in the process buying a house through underwriting, and we as employees get an alert if that client has their credit pulled. One, we know that their client had their credit pulled by whom, whether it's another mortgage company, whether it's a credit card company, whether it's a car company. Well, this young lady decided to go out and purchase a new car. So not only did she have a challenge qualifying, she couldn't qualify. She had to send the car back, and we had to close the loan with the car going back. So don't go buy a car. Don't transfer money in and out of your bank accounts, right? We verify every deposit going in and out of your bank account. So no extravagant purchases, right? Don't put cash into the bank, whether, you hit down at the casino, right? You get a big chunk of money, you put cash in the bank. All those things are no-nos. So, you have to be very cautious. Whatever you think that can happen, we find everything out. Okay. Bank statements. It's unbelievable what we can find out from a mortgage standpoint, right? If you've owned businesses that we don't see on your tax returns, and maybe you've owned them in the past, we have something called Fraud Guard where everything comes up. So, I always tell people, tell me everything. The more I know, the better I can go into the transaction, figuring out the best way to help you get into the house.
Do you see artificial intelligence, AI, assisting in that regard?
A ton. So we have a HELOC department that it's basically all digital and automated, and there's no communication with any human whatsoever. We also have, I have a feature now where I have a refinance opportunity. I have 157 people in my refinance opportunity. We have an AI generated process that they're calling my clients and having a full conversation with my client, asking to communicate with me. So technology is wild. It's huge. It's a great part of what we do every day.
Paul, one of the greatest fears is that AI could actually replicate the beauty and charm of a Sherry Lilienfeld of EXP. Is that likely to happen?
It's impossible. It's impossible. There's only one Sherry, my friend. One.
And that's your lead in, Sherry. Give us some information. Does the mortgage rates, do interest rates, does that mean a lot down here along the shore, Margate, Ventnor, Longport, or what? Or people to have all this cash under their bed they've been waiting to spend with you?
Well, I always say that the market down here is more dependent on the stock market than the mortgage rates, because again, it's second home, predominantly discretionary income. A lot of people are taking money. They consider it, even though they're using it as an investment, from one investment at their stocks or whatever type of investments they have, and they're putting it here. So I feel like our market is more dependent on the stock market and investments. And to me, people are still really, really looking at prices. They're really kicking themselves for not buying when they wanted to. And as you know, I always say, we need more inventory below 1.5 million. And we will be talking about a new property that just hit the market that really meets that. So anyway, Paul, I have a question for you. So because, my buyers do take a lot of money out of investments, and you're saying don't let their accounts, don't put a lot of money in your account. If it's documented and that up, before it goes through underwriting, I'm assuming that's okay, right? If you're
totally fine. If you're, what happens a lot of times is people transfer money in and out of different accounts. It's fine. It just makes it more challenging because you got to get a copy of each one of those statements to show where it came from and to what account. When you have larger investments, that's a whole different level, because obviously maybe you have a financial advisor, You're getting a copy of the actual statement that the client has to offer. So a lot of times, and then right now, because the market's so good, so strong, a lot of people don't want to liquidate from the market just because they don't want to take a loss on, or at some point have to pay any capital gains on what they have, knowing that the market is that strong. So this is where we see a lot of clients say, hey, let's do a line of credit. Let's do a HELOC. Let's do a home equity loan. Let's borrow against my property versus tapping into your retirement right now. Retirement accounts have only gone up, and hopefully they're only going to continue to go up. So tapping into the equity in your real estate right now is a great option, and we're doing a lot of that.
Paul, Sherry Lilienfeld of EXP can't wait to ask you all about the looming reval, the revaluations of these markets. Does that play a role in the mortgage space? Why don't you just ask him that question about revals and reassessments, Sherry? This is one of your favorite topics.
So you're talking about revaluations of property taxes and so forth?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes. So, I mean, that's, I'm obviously living in the Pennsylvania area, living in the Philadelphia market. There's, tax abatements, which were big in the city of Philadelphia. These revals that are going to take place are going to be really, really interesting to see how it plays out with borrowers from qualifying, right? There's areas in the Jersey Shore that have very low real estate taxes. There are also some areas that have very high. Depending upon what it does and how high they go, it's going to negatively impact clients in terms of qualifications. So, but I think in the second home market where Sherry predominantly is, a lot of these buyers are buying cash, right? They're tapping into their equity in their primary residence, going in and offering a cash offer. So the property taxes, well, yes, it's going to be impactful to their bottom line in their pocket, but it won't impact them as much if they're qualifying for a mortgage. So stay tuned. I'm curious to see how it plays out.
Yeah, because I was going to ask Sherry, are we seeing most of the activity is above $1 million, above 1.5 mil? What about that 750,000 sweet spot for, new families coming in? What do you see happening here? I mean, I think I always ask you the question, how many new families or first-time buyers are coming into Margate or Ventnor or Longport? How many first-time buyers, young families are coming in, Sherry? Ballpark.
You love to ask me this so
Yes,
that
I
I
do,
can
yeah.
say, when you're talking about families, that's different than first-time home buyers. It's very challenging to see a first-time home buyer who's going to spend over $1 million on their first house. I mean, I love
it. I'll help Sherry. This is it's very, very rare, one, that they're going to find a property that they can afford as a first-time home buyer to come into that market, right? Most of the first-time home buyers that we see are in the surrounding areas. You got Northfield, Egg Harbor Township, Absecon, and those surrounding areas where they're going to be able to afford as a first-time buyer. And honestly, they're able to get into some of the advantages in some of the first-time home buyer grants. So first-time home buyer grant in the state of New Jersey, the client is eligible up for $15,000 and up to $10,000 for first-time home buyers that are all income restricted. Very rarely do we see a first-time home buyer, making $200,000 that can be able to afford into the shore market. So it's a tough market for first-time home buyers, but we're going to see the surrounding shore areas, very common.
Yeah, I mean, and actually that's what I was going to say. Like Margate, Ventnor, you're not seeing first-time home buyers, but definitely EHT and Northfield, Linwood area. That's where that's where I would see them. That's where I would work, because I do work those areas as well. So, and Absecon, that's where I see them. But I haven't worked with one in a while, actually. So,
any other thoughts, Cheryl, on how the mortgage and interest rates? But Paul, what about the greatest fear that we always hear, and that is, if those mortgage rates go down, there's always that risk, maybe, of inflation flaring up. What kind of merit is there in that statement?
I see, if everyone thinks when rates go down, the property values are going to go up, right? That's just historically what we have. I mean, we saw it during COVID. Historically, when the rates go down, when the rates go up, property values go down, and vice versa. They typically don't work. Like, the rates are going to be coming down, property values are going to skyrocket. I think we're going to see some levelization where it's going to level out at some point. I think values are inflated right now across the board. At some point, they got to pull back. But until we have rates in the fives to get more inventory, values are going to still climb because people are overpaying for properties in a lot of cases right now.
So, Paul, I was checking some of the Brigantine websites. And of course, I lived in Brigantine for about 25 years. You have a home there as well. That lot, I used to love their pizza and all their nacho type stuff. Bella Luna, right there at 900 West Brigantine Avenue, sold back in December of 2023 for 1.5 mil. Now it's back on the market for 2.5 mil. What's your thoughts on that property, huh?
You said 1.5.
It was sold. It was sold on back in 23 for 1.5. Now it's back on the market for 2.5. So now it's an empty lot. You're familiar with the lot where Bella Luna used to be?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a great opportunity. It's wild on what, again, there's an inflated value right now, right? I'm not sure if it's just a commercial property or if you can get zoning to do something residential.
It is mixed use, yes. Right now.
Yeah. So
it's been, yeah.
In most cases, it's a very good location, right? So it's kind of in the center of town. So I expect a developer to come in there and buy that, build either double single family homes or some type of townhouse or condo development. But real estate right now is just at an all-time high. Brigantine, in my opinion, is still one of the more reasonable priced areas, if I can say reasonable.
It's all relative, but you're right. You're right. Yeah.
I mean, you're going to see Chelsea Heights and these other places. I mean, people are really spending top dollar to get in certain places in the Atlantic City market. So it's just a matter of time before things are relatively untouchable. But, we're not in the, I mean, Sherry's going to tell you some of the values in Margate and Ventnor and these places are just outrageous.
Hey, Sher, what do you think about Jared Kushner finally talking about putting a shovel in the dirt and building 185 market rate apartments where Captain Starnes used to be down there at Caspian Point in Atlantic City? It's funny to think that Marty Small, the mayor of Atlantic City, and Jared Kushner are doing a deal finally after 20 years. Kushner has controlled that property for 20 years, and he only paid $2 million for that property, Paul. It's called long-term outlook, huh? Nice to have that ability, isn't it?
To buy and hold something for $2 million like that and pay the taxes. Yeah, I mean, but look, when we actually see them start to build, then I'll believe it. Look how long we've been talking about the area where the airport was, Bader Field. Like there's supposed to be a development coming, and like I don't even know where that is now. I hear about it when we were talking about offshore wind and putting the cables through that area. They were talking about this development, but I haven't heard anything about it lately. So when I believe it, when I see it, that's all I'll say.
What do you think, Paul? They're thinking about doing, hundreds of condos at Bader Field with a racetrack. There's also another condo that was near resorts that just got announced that it was shutting down for the time being or being sold or something. And then, of course, you have the Atlantic Club sitting there empty. And now we're talking about Caspian Point down by Captain Starnes, Garwood Mills, and Gardner's Basin, the aquarium, 185 market rate apartments. Seems like an awful lot of inventory. So that's a good sign. The downside is who's clamoring to move into Atlantic City in those neighborhoods?
It's tough. I mean, if there's an area that I like, it's there. I mean, that whole Gardner's Basin area is really sharp. Obviously, me being a boater, we spend some time over there. Whether Sirens is another good spot that we go to, and kind of that's a good area there. Just like you mentioned, 185. That's a big number, big ticket number. And who's going to be looking to get over there? What's on the beach there, right there in the end as you coming in there? You see on the left hand side. That's the apartment complex. What is that? As you're going through the inlet there on the left-hand side, it's a big development, big complex. I don't know the name.
It's blue, like the.
Yes. Yeah.
It's next to Ocean Casino.
Yeah.
Like that one.
Yes.
Yeah, that place is a mess. It's
a mess.
Oh, it is. It is. I don't know if it's affordable. It's a mess. I moved someone out of there. He's a tenant. And he's like, half the time, like the water doesn't work. The elevators don't work sometimes. I mean, that is the best property. If you want to talk about location, that is the best location and the worst property. And some investors from, I think, Staten Island bought it many years ago. And I was just hoping that they would fix it up and do something beautiful with it. But yeah, I forget what it's called, but it's
I
a
can
mess.
tell you, I think it's an Ocean 101 or something to that effect. It's right there in the corner. It has a bit of a curve. It was developed and engineered to withstand like incredible hurricanes. So it's built like a brick, you know what. And I actually looked at some.
It looks like a you know what.
Yeah, but I
Well,
did.
now it does.
But
But try going inside, because apparently it smells from like urine. It's not nice.
That's the downside. But I did go in there a few years back, and I did find that a couple of the floors they put all their emphasis on, and they were gorgeous. But the other floors and everything you had to walk over was pretty nasty. So I go, I can't believe this place is not being focused on, because it was a lot of sad people in the hallways and it was scary. But once you got to certain floors, I go, wow, it was unbelievable, the views and the beauty of it. So
Maybe the investor ran out of money or something and started improving it, but it needs some help.
It's the best view. You're literally overlooking, seeing everything on the water. It's really sharp. I mean, it's my location point when I know when I'm coming home and when I'm on the water.
Anybody else have anything to say? Because I have more Brigantine stuff, unless you guys want to just finish up on that topic there.
No, I was just going to say it is the best property in Atlantic City with the best views. And yeah, we would love to see. How about Kushner come in and take that and develop that? That would be the smart thing to do. But all right.
All right. Anything else, Paul? Because I think I'm not finding. I wanted to talk about how there's some people are talking about that lot in Brigantine, and they more and more people are saying, please, let's try to put maybe more affordable housing, but it's not that kind of affordable housing. It's just housing that's not $2 million, because they miss having a year-round community. We're seeing more people talk about that they're making more money if they sell their home. They're doing great. And if you are the mayor or the commissioners or the council people, you're raking in more revenue in terms of taxable and rateables. But when it comes to livability year-round, people are starting to notice that they miss having a year-round community. Are more people talking about that in Brigantine? I see it online, Paul.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. But I think having that type of community in the area would potentially help generate a more residential and not just seasonal buyer or seasonal owners. I mean, Brigantine definitely has some really good communities in certain areas. But I'm not 100% sure if adding that, how that would proceed into the shore town. Atlantic City is a little bit different, but I'm not 100% certain on what that would generate for Brigantine. But I know it's a common theme in a lot of these shore towns in getting something like that.
So there's some people here that are commenting online about the Brigantine development. The property here, we're talking about that property that is the former, I think it was a taxi cab stand. It was also a contractor's office, and it was Bella Luna. And it says the property has great commercial value. I hope someone can get plans approved to develop this in a way that adds to the downtown Brigantine vibe. In my honest opinion, it needs to stay zoned commercial, because residential would detract from that area of the island. People are just afraid it'll turn into a Sea Isle, which is a 3-month-a-year place. It's not a place you live year round. They closed the schools already. So that's what people are afraid of. That they don't know whether to cash in or to hold on to the community.
I think Brigantine's always going to be a community, just the way that it's set up. I mean, the schools and interaccess right there. I mean, Brigantine is one of the easiest shore points to get in and out of, right? Mm-hmm. Just where it's located. So I don't think it'll turn into the Sea Isles of the Stone Harbors or the Avalons of the world. But stay tuned. Again, property values, I think, in Brigantine from a shore point are still, affordable in some cases.
So let me just finish up here. So some people are saying we don't want to become a Sea Isle in Brigantine. We want to support small business. I would take a mixed use over another big box McMansion that's empty 8 months a year. Somebody else says, I don't disagree with that. Jersey Cow is popular, Sandy Jacks. Sunday Tea House, Tony Beef, all relatively new businesses to Brigantine. They seem to be flourishing. They go there at least once a week. I'm curious to see how Brigantine changes over the years. It's nice having businesses open year round. It's nice that parking aside from holiday weekends isn't horrible to find. It's nice from December to April, the island isn't a complete ghost town like some other southern islands. Like my Big Beef is one of my favorite places here in Ventnor to get a sandwich, a great sandwich, an Italian sandwich, would be Bruno's Italian Market. And now he makes an incredible pork sandwich. Now he's not open on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Now it's just Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So there's a part of me that just wishes I could go grab a pork and broccoli rabe sandwich at Bruno's in Ventnor whenever I want, Paul. That's just me.
I think a lot of those places that you talked about had phenomenal summers. And I actually have been to probably every single one of them. And they do stay open Wednesday through Sunday now, or Thursday through Sunday. So there was definitely an opportunity. I mean, these places were closing down all year once the summer ended, right? It was done. Summer shut and that was it. But hopefully they can, afford to stay open in certain cases. So.
All right. Any more questions for Paul Scolich, Sherry, before Paul has to skedaddle? Is that it, Sher? Anything?
That's it. You guys, let's get some striper fishing here as we move into the fall season. All right.
And Paul, why should people reach out to you, and how can they find Paul Scolich?
Unbelievable time to purchase right now with the lower environment on interest rates. The numbers on the board: 215-416-5958, or in my office in Brigantine, right across the street from Reverses.
All right, Paul. Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys.